Good morning on a Monday. Welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show. So thrilled to have you with us. I am your host, Monica Adams. We are in the InVita Health and Wellness Studios, and we will actually be joined by Dr. Sara Franco from InVita Health and Wellness shortly. We're going to talk about skincare. Now, this is really important. Think about this. Do you have any idea what is in the ingredients that you're putting on your face, that you're putting on your body? Some of this might give you a wake-up call. We're going to talk about really deeply looking into what you're putting on your face, the regimen that you go through, and I'm talking men and women both. I remember being back in high school and a very good friend of mine at that time saying, hey, what skincare regimen do you use? And at the time I was like, I just wash my face and put moisturizer on. But this was high school, and now what I'm thinking is we need to get to those kids at a much earlier age. I was watching my godchild walk around with one of these things that kind of give you the vibration on your face. I was like, oh my gosh, she's only 13. But I thought about it and thought, wow, that's really incredible to start early and have that regimen going as you're getting from junior high into high school, college years. Take care of your skin at a very early age. So let's get the kids involved, let's get the men involved, and let's get the women involved. So this is going to affect everyone. We'll talk about that coming up for you this morning. Also, hope you had a great weekend. We'll be checking in to see what you did. We went to Carnival. Yeah, I'm saying it correctly. John Carney started this over 2 decades ago, and he teams up with all these wonderful children organizations with Carney's Kids, raised a lot of money, and they had a silent auction, they had a fund to need, and I got some really cool things. I'm going to be taking some friends to a special wine dinner at Olive and Oak very soon in Webster Groves. If you haven't been there, our dear friends Mark and Jen Hinkle own that. So I kept bidding on that, and bought some St. Louis City SC tickets. I would not let any of that go. I went down to the wire. My husband was like, how much are you spending? And I said, hey, it's all for the kids. So I definitely put some of those pictures out there. We had a great time, and we were invited by Sara and her husband, Brandon. So we went to that over the weekend. Yesterday, just sat outside, enjoyed a beautiful sunset as we grilled. Today, however, not the best day to grill. Why is that? Well, it's because of the wind. Let's get into our weather. We've got some crazy changes coming. You're going to feel like it's summer already. Then there's going to be this massive drop in temperatures. Could we have a tornado? Well, I'm not the one that's going to give you all that. We have our aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore with our What the Weather segment. Good morning, Beckett.
Good morning, Monica.
Good to see you. It's good to see the sun shining today, but I'm telling you what a wild next few days of weather for sure. So tell me this first of all, Beckett, are we going to beat records today and tomorrow with the highs?
I think that's very possible. I don't actually know the exact records, but with this heat, we're expecting getting into the 80s on Tuesday. That's very possible that we do get a new record. I mean, it was just a very nice weekend. Saturday was a little chilly, but Sunday was very, very nice, and we're going to get even warmer than yesterday. So the heat is not really backing down till mid
we're
this
going
week.
from winter into spring. We haven't even hit spring yet, but we're talking about temperatures today and tomorrow in the 80s, possibly. I'm looking at a lot of different forecasts. Some people like you are showing 78. Some people are going with 80. Some are going with 84 tomorrow. And then I saw this morning, Matt Chambers on KMOV saying that we would have a 50-degree drop for a high once we get into Wednesday, which is just absolutely crazy. But this is St. Louis for you. So let's let Beckett go as we get into the bus stop forecast, and he breaks down some severe weather that's heading our way tomorrow. Beckett?
Definitely. So we've got a lot to talk about. First things first, the bus stop forecast for today. 45 degrees here in the morning, nice and sunny, really warming up as we go into the afternoon. I pushed that high up a couple degrees to 78 degrees, partly cloudy, going to feel like great afternoon out there in the St. Louis region. Now, that severe weather threat you've been hearing about, we do have a 2 out of 5 slight risk for severe weather tomorrow, mainly for that severe storm threat into tomorrow afternoon and to tomorrow evening. There's still some uncertainty about this, if we are even going to see a lot of storm coverage for right now, so make sure to stay tuned, but we do have that threat from St. Louis down through Farmington. So if you have any outdoor plans tomorrow, stay tuned to the radar, stay tuned just to the weather forecast, and make sure you are looking at the radar, making sure the storms aren't coming towards your location. Now, our severe risk timeline, as we go into tomorrow afternoon, that's when it starts to get going a little bit. But as we go into tomorrow night, I think that's when our best chance for storms is. Now, could we go through tomorrow without seeing a lot of storms? I think that's very possible because we do have convective inhibition, which keeps those storms from forming. I think that will erode, though, by the evening. And I think as we go into late tomorrow, that's when we could have a weak squall line of storms moving through, causing maybe a couple of severe storms here and there, but maybe just some thunder and lightning that might wake you up tomorrow evening. So make sure you're prepared for that. Have a way to get warnings if those do go in place tomorrow afternoon and evening. Now, our 7-day forecast, again, today, high of 78, low of 57, the low of 57. Tomorrow, thunderstorms possible, especially afternoon and evening. That's the time frame you're going to want to watch. Low of 23, that's when that cold front's coming through, Tuesday evening. And then look what we go from, like Monica was saying, 82 to 40 degrees as our high. 82 our high on Tuesday to 40 degrees as our high on Wednesday. It will be sunny, but it will definitely be very chilly with a low of 25. Thursday, still pretty chilly, partly cloudy with a high around 50, low of 31. And then we start warming back up as we get into Friday with 58. A couple of showers around maybe midday, but not a huge washout or anything like that. Low of 42. And then around 70 on Saturday, sunny, and again around 70 on Sunday. So we're heading into another very nice weekend weather-wise.
And so, Beckett, with regards to Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, into the early hours on Wednesday, are there some people that could possibly see a tornado?
I think that's a possibility. I wouldn't say that's the most common threat, and there's a very, very low threat for a tornado. I think what we really want to watch out for is those severe wind gusts and maybe some small hail. But overall, the tornado threat is very low. Can't rule it out, though.
And once again, what do you know what the wind speed is supposed to be today? Because I heard some saying, even though it's 78 degrees or maybe even flirting with 80 degrees, there are a lot of people who might this afternoon think about going out and grilling, but I'm hearing that we should not today.
Yeah, so there is a fire weather warning in effect right now in St. Louis. It's going to be gusty today and tomorrow, so definitely need to watch out for that. Be careful out there. Don't start any fires.
Absolutely. Well, Beckett, thank you so much. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Again, there is a possibility for St. Louis, and I'm also hearing maybe more to the south, so maybe it would miss St. Louis, which would be great. Beckett, are you available again tomorrow morning?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's bring you back on so we can get a more accurate as we move into the morning of the severe risk. We'll check in with you again tomorrow, okay?
All right, sounds great. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Beckett. You as well. That's aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore, keeping an eye on the weather for you with our What the Weather segment. And tomorrow's going to be the day that we really want to watch. But yeah, can you believe that? 78, 80, 82, maybe 84 degrees. I mean, it just goes up and down. We'll find out for you if we do, in fact, hit a record as we check in with Beckett tomorrow. Now, I do want to give you some traffic news that's going to affect many of you over the next 3 weeks. Starting today after morning rush, right at 9 a.m., that 14th Street exit ramp from 6440 heading eastbound is closing. And I don't mean just for a few hours or just for the day, for 3 weeks. Now, that's the main exit that you use to go off to the Enterprise Center heading in towards 14th Street. 3 weeks it's closed. Now, here's the good thing that we're not talking about Cardinals baseball and that being affected, but the Blues, because right there is Enterprise Center. There are a few home games. There's at least 3, maybe 4 home games that will be affected. The first one will be March 2nd. So a heads up to you, if you're heading to the Blues game over the next few weeks, your best bet is to use the left 11th Street exit. You can go to that and then head into the heart of downtown and then come back. So you will not, again, be able to use that 14th Street exit. Just a heads up to you. Again, as I mentioned, I'm going to give you a little heads up to everything that you need to know with regards to news you can use. And that's about all I really heard today. There's everything else just was like, just laid there. And I thought, you don't need to understand that. Or you don't need to know that, because understand that it's more negative news. There's not really things that I held on to in my heart or my spirit or my brain that I thought was good for you. However, if you've heard something that you think, hey, Monica, can you tell people about this? Always let me know, because I want this to be a big part of your show as well. Good morning to Linda Eckert, Julie Purcell, Diane Isbell on, Terry Tackstein, Kathleen Morris, Kathy Holdenreed. Julie Purcell said she saw the forecast with Matt as well. Again, he's talking about 84 possibly for a high tomorrow. Good morning to Tony Nesbitt. March 1st, yes, Friday, getting closer to spring. Spring, of course, is always the day after my birthday. So March 20th, My nephew's birthday is the first day of spring. Mine's March 19th. I'm glad you love Beckett, Julie Fabian. I just love this kid. I can watch him every morning. I know, right? Yes, and Michelle said, once the traffic diva, always a traffic diva. Well, that's news you can use, right? That's news that you've got to get around. All right, so today it is 7:10. We're going to talk about skincare, moving from winter to spring, then spring to summer. Have you ever done light therapy, laser therapies? Why would you need to do that? Who needs to do that? What can be done when they do that? All of those things we're going to talk about for the next 45 to 50 minutes. But before we get into all of that, I want to talk about a movie that just came out over the weekend that Dr. Sara Franco and her husband Brandon are associate producers on. How cool is that? This woman does everything. We're going to bring in Dr. Sara Franco in the blue chair when we return. InVita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. InVita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, InVita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let InVita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online InVitaHealthandWellness.com.
I've been in this line of work over 40 years. Nobody has ever tried to steal from me and lived long enough to spend a dime. Oh! Come on, let's go!
Do we just go collect our cut and that's it, or are we getting another job?
Is that a burner? What's the deal? Anybody could be tracking.
Nobody's tracking my phone.
The kid can't be trusted.
Who's he been talking to?
The count was missing 25 grand.
Hey! Go somewhere!
You won't make it through the night.
Man, you gotta be thinking about your next move.
Is this what you want, or are you unpredictable?
I thought I made it clear. Nobody steals from me and gets to live.
Okay, so you saw Sam Neill, Barry Pepper, Rachel Griffiths, but you didn't get a chance to see on there. Somewhere near the end, you'll see associate producer Sara Franco and Brandon Franco. What is going on here? Before we get into all the skincare talk we're going to talk about today, I wanted to talk about this movie. How cool is this? Welcome. Good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
So how did this all come about?
So it was kind of interesting.
Get
So
this closer.
my husband, is always looking for different things to get involved in. My son just graduated from ASU and with a degree in screenwriting. So we were trying to look for ways to help him. I'm trying to really kind of promote a new business that I'm starting to do, some script consulting and some legal consulting for medical cases. So it all just kind of came together and this opportunity presented itself. So we jumped on it.
Very cool. So where can we see that right now?
So-
Amazon Prime, I heard you guys talk about.
Amazon Prime, Apple TV. It didn't make it to any of the theater. The distributor gets to decide which theaters it goes to. So we pushed hard for the St. Louis area, but we weren't able to get anything around here. So the closest theater is like 4 hours away in Illinois somewhere. So Amazon Prime, Apple TV.
Okay, so you've seen it. How many
Yes,
times?
About 3.
3 times. And so, without giving it obviously away, what's your feedback on how well it was put together?
Oh, I love it. It's really interesting to see, kind of how they edited things, and we actually didn't get to see the full film until it was released in the United States, just because of distributor rights. So I love the way it came together.
And was this shot in Australia?
It was. The whole movie was shot in Australia.
Interesting. So again, I want you to look that up on Amazon Prime or you said it on Apple. He's scary.
Yes. Not a kid's movie, but
No. What is it rated? Is it R? Or?
it is rated R. Yes.
Okay. So I was talking with Sara and Brandon about this. I knew about this several months ago, and I'm like, oh, we've got to get them on. So as you get more and more in the elite Hollywood, you got to hook us up, girl.
Absolutely. We didn't make it to this red carpet event in LA, but we're hoping to make it out there for Scurry, which is our film that's coming out at the end of the year.
Okay, so you're not stopping there. You're just going to continue to be tied into this.
Keep going. Just keep going.
Do you get a chance to choose, like, hey, I want to do drama, I want to do comedy, etc.?
We do. We get an opportunity to look at the script. We get what is called the executive deck. So we look at who they're looking at for a director, who they're looking at for actors, actresses involved. I mean, all the way down to, different soundtracks and things that they're putting together. So it's interesting.
So anybody who's known me for a long time knows maybe that I used to talk about in radio, and then when I got into TV, that I had a top 10 list of people that I wanted to interview before I got out of my career. There are 2 left. So you've got to look at scripts with Julia Roberts.
Okay.
And get me an interview with her.
Okay, I will work on it.
She's tasked with that. That's one of them. I had Sandra Bullock on there too, but she hasn't done anything in a while. But I think she's hilarious. But Julia is my all-time favorite. Jennifer Aniston also. So those 2.
Those are 2 good ones. I'll see what I can do. I don't have a whole lot of pull there yet, but we'll see what we can do.
Come on, let's hang with the 2 of them. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about this new movie. Again, Bring Him to Me. You can watch on Amazon Prime and then also on Apple. If you get a chance to see that, let us know. We'll pass along comments. Sarah's always very active in the comments as well, but she'll get a chance to see what you thought of it. So wanted to start with that this morning before we got into our topic of the day. So you just saw Beckett's weather forecast.
I did.
St. Louis is nuts. Okay, so we're talking about summer-style weather over the next couple of days. I felt it, by the way, and I thought it was ironic that we were going to talk about this. I was outside working yesterday, and I was like, why am I inside so beautiful? So I took my laptop out, and I could feel the sun on my face, but
Yes.
I didn't have my sunscreen on.
Shame on you.
I knew. I was like, oh, wait. And so I'm like, I got to go back inside and do that. So yes, let's talk about winter heading into spring in the next 3 weeks. March 1st, again, is this Friday. So spring right around the corner. But before we say that, we should be wearing our sunscreen throughout the winter too, shouldn't we?
All the time. All the time you need to have some sunscreen on. Yes.
We all forget that because it's colder and we don't think so, but the sun's out there.
It is. Yep.
Do you see a lot of problems with people because they don't take care of their skin throughout the winter as we do the transition?
We do. And unfortunately, the thing skincare is so expensive. And one of the things to consider is you have to do some preventative maintenance. So, we often get patients that, when you're in your 20s, early 30s, our skin just has a different texture, our makeup lies differently. And then as you age, those things just change. Then you get to your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and everything seems so expensive to do. But the truth is, if we would have taken care of our skin a long time ago, then it would have, more of a preventative, it would have been a lot less expensive in the long run.
It's true. And I mentioned that at the very beginning. I was watching my 13-year-old godchild walking around with one of those, I don't even know what it is. She's got this thing. She was like, on her, what is it?
There's some things out there like some face yoga and things like that you can do to try to prevent things like the hooded eyes and
at 13.
I didn't start at 13. I wish I would have started a lot earlier. I don't know when the perfect time to start is, but yeah, there's some preventative things that you can do.
Well, I think it's interesting, and I'm wondering if that's something that's catching on. I mean, again, with TikTok and Instagram and all these things, and you see all these influencers, all these actresses and influencers that are out there, all these younger kids are like, ooh, let's jump on this, which for that, even though I know a lot of you don't like social media for the younger, I think that's actually a good thing, that they're being introduced to something that we weren't when we were that age.
I do. Now, I was explaining to my daughter and our foreign exchange student that, skincare, albeit expensive, it doesn't equal the more expensive, the better it is always. I remember feeling my great grandma's skin, and just being like, oh, it's so soft. And she washed her face with Dove every single night. So she didn't use these $1 million skincare regimens and lines. But the fact of the matter is a lot of the things that are, you have to do your research. So just because you see it out there everywhere doesn't mean it's the best product. It probably just means they have a really great marketer. Now, not to say that it isn't a great product, but you just need to take a deeper look and a deeper dive and make sure that what you think you're putting on your skin is what is actually going on there.
Well, I think that's a great way for us to just jump in and talk about it. If you're just tuning in, Dr. Sara Franco from InVita Health and Wellness, located in Kirkwood. Again, we're talking about skincare today. So if you have any questions for her, and we're talking about younger, we're talking about men, we're talking about women, we're talking about seniors, and how it changes as we get older and what our regimen should look like. We were in Alabama, Sara, and Jim's favorite aunt is in southern Alabama. I remember her talking about her moisturizer that she used and some of her other skincare routine, and she's like, you have no idea how much I'm spending on this. And she's like, I really want to know if I need to be. And so she started talking to us about different things, and she's like, I'm not even going to tell you because I'm embarrassed to tell you what I spend on this. But I feel like some people, especially as they get older, are kind of pulled into things that they don't need to be. So if you had to break it down, what do we absolutely need to be looking at that maybe we should be spending more money on X, Y, Z, and then maybe there's other things that you're like, you know what, you don't have to be spending much, and here's some ideas for you.
So look at the ingredients, and I mean, this could be like an entire, I mean, besides a segment, we could probably talk about this for days and days, and I even get confused on it sometimes, but there are so many different ingredients and so many different skin types that are out there. That's what we try to do at InVita is, I do have my own skincare line that is just kind of the basics for just everyday skincare. But if you have specific things that you're trying to target or specific things that you're struggling with, maybe you're acne prone, maybe you're just trying to, prevent some of the crepey skin and just improve skin texture. If you are one of the higher skincare as far as pigmentation goes, if you're African American, if you have hyperpigmentation, all of those things are different things that you need to target, and all of the different ingredients are going to target those differently. What I think a lot of people don't understand is you try to be proactive, and you use all these different things, and they may be actually working against each other. Our skin needs, in order for there to be about 50% bioavailability, which I know I talk about all the time, but for skin care lines or for skincare products, they need a pH of 3.5. If you start putting on an acid, but then you start doing a moisturizer, and then you start doing a serum, if those pHs are competing with each other and you start raising that pH, then they're not even penetrating the skin anyway. You've basically just neutralized everything you're doing. And at that point, you're clogging your pores with a lot of products that aren't doing anything. So it's really important that, like I was going to mention, at InVita, what we try to do is look at what our patients are struggling with, and then we have a cosmopharmaceutical person that will put together. Now, it doesn't come in the beautiful bottle or anything like that.
That's what people are spending too much money on, though.
But right, it's all packaging and product marketing. So, but it's going to target exactly what you need. So if you have hyperpigmentation, but you still do have some hormonal breakouts, then we can combine something that maybe has mandelic acid and kojic acid in it instead of doing an acid that you don't need, and then that's going to target those problem areas.
Well, you're talking about branding and marketing, and all I ever heard over the last several years from every influencer and every actress that jumps on skincare, I'll put my name behind this, is hyaluronic acid. Okay, everybody hears that. Tell everybody what that is, and is that something that we need?
So hyaluronic acid, the reason that it works for most people is because it's a BHA. So to very oversimplify, you kind of have your A's and your B's, your alphas and your betas. Alphas are going to be a little bit harsher on the skin because they're smaller molecules, so they'll penetrate easier. The BHAs, like the salicylic acid and hyaluronic acid, are going to be larger molecules. They don't penetrate quite as well. That's why you don't get the redness and the irritation and things like that. Now, hyaluronic acid is great for moisturizing, providing hydration and things like that to the skin. So that really is kind of one of those that is going to fit most skin types, most Fitzpatrick's, that kind of thing, and you're not going to have any kind of problem. But the reason being is just it's a much not much. It's a less harsher chemical that you're putting on your face. So as far as providing hydration, moisture, then everybody does need that, and hyaluronic acid is going to be where you're going to find that the best.
If you're just tuning in, it's our Medical Monday Ask the Doctor segment. So questions about your skin. If you are frustrated and you're saying, my skin's too dry, my skin's too oily, am I using the wrong things? Feel free to drop some questions and I'll be looking throughout. And again, it's InVitaHealthAndWellness.com. Again, we've been mentioning all the different aspects that they can take care of for you inside and out for your body. Men, there are so many men that wait until they get past a certain age and then they get frustrated. And they're like, oh, look at all these wrinkles that I have. And they've never done anything. But I think they're afraid to even start talking about it. I think it's gotten better over the maybe last 5 to 10 years. Definitely. But I don't remember my brothers, my dad, uncles, anybody ever talking about their skincare. So how do we get that across to them at an earlier age?
I think it all just goes. I think the media actually does a fairly good job talking about it, just because we talk about the need to protect our skin and clean our skin. Men generally do not wear a lot of makeup and things like that like we do, so they are not dealing with the clogged pores, a large component of a lot of the acne that particularly teenagers and younger adults struggle with. But I thought, well, once I get over 40, I won't have to worry about any acne anymore. And woke up this morning with this guy, so there is definitely a hormonal component to that as well. So, but men just do not have those same struggles. So generally the ingredients that they need to be using are more like the hyaluronic acid, and definitely SPF, because they need to protect their skin as well.
Okay, so somebody just asked, what sunscreen do you recommend? I have rosacea on my face. What do you recommend for rosacea as well?
So rosacea, what we recommend at the clinic is going to be some kind of light therapy. So you basically you need to stop those micropigmentations. That's what those are, just little bitty blood vessels. So we use laser and light therapy, which I think we're going to talk about coming up. But moisturize your skin and make sure, it really depends on the amount of time that you're going to be outside to determine which SPF you're going to need. I tell my kids all the time, it's going to, just kind of a rule with them is, if you have SPF 15, then you can count on it being on your skin or working for 15 to 30 minutes. Maximum is going to be double what the SPF is. If you're using SPF 90, then it's going to be okay for 90 minutes. So really, it's going to depend on the amount of time that you're wanting, how much exposure you're going to have to direct sunlight, and the amount of time you're going to be outside.
Wow, that's a wake-up call for all of us, isn't it? So if we're using 30, we should be reapplying after about 30 minutes?
You really should.
Woo,
yes.
I don't do it right.
Yes.
Let's just all be real here, right? Especially when we're going on vacation, you're like, oh, I'm just going to spray something on, and we've gotten to the point that we like the sprays because it's easier on us, right? And then we just think we're done for 3-4 hours to be swimming around. No.
Not at all.
And what is your thoughts on actual cream as to a spray?
So the cream is just going to, the penetration there is going to be a lot better. Even though the sprays feel lighter, those molecules are actually much larger, it's a lot harder to penetrate the skin. So for myself and my kids, at least, we do the first round, we smear down with lotion and make sure that we're good and covered. And then if it's something that we need to reapply, then the spray is okay.
Like the white lifeguard?
Yeah, maybe not quite that much, but yes, yeah, just make sure it's covered.
All right, we're going to look for some questions for you about your skin, any issues that you've been having. We're going to talk about laser light therapy. We're going to look at ingredients also, and things that I think could be wake-up calls that when we are at the store or we're going to a salon, a spa, whatever, and we're asking for different types of skincare that you need in your routine and in your regimen. Do you actually look at what's in it? There's a lot of people that have gone to wanting to be very natural. They're looking for vegan products, things like that. We'll go through all of that. And any questions that you have, we'll have more with Dr. Sara Franco when we return.
We need women to lift women up.
Let's do that.
Being on Monica's show, it was like one of the best interviews I've ever had.
Monica's very real, and she really cares about people.
She's changing lives.
Changing lives.
I think this is just really what people want to see.
Giving back so much to the community, and I really appreciate it.
Today, Monica was extraordinarily real, not only with me, but with her viewers and her listeners.
Made the interview process like talking to a friend.
How are you doing? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a few weeks.
Hey. You're close.
Monica. Whoa.
So go out in this world and be anything you want to be. But before you do that, first, be kind.
Welcome back, 729. We are in the InVita Health and Wellness Studios, and we are with Dr. Sara Franco from InVita Health and Wellness. Today, focusing on your skin. Now, we're going to break down some ingredients. We're going to have more of a look of light therapy, laser therapy, things maybe that you've never done before. Who is a candidate for that? Is there anybody that's not? When should we start those things? All of that here over the next half hour. But before we do that, Sara, someone said, I just went to my dermatologist and she said, keep sunscreen on, and I have to use 2 topicals now. So you're going to know these. I'm going to probably butcher this. Metronidazole.
Okay.
0.75% topical, CRM 45 gram. Then she put tretinoin, 0.25% cream, 45 gram. These are the 2 creams she put me on. Have you heard of these, Dr. Sara?
Yes. So the first is Flagyl. That's actually kind of an antifungal, antibiotic medication. So if you have things like, if you're prone to things like yeast, or if you have like the seborrheic psoriasis or dermatitis or that kind of thing, then that can kind of keep that overproduction of cells kind of in check. Tretinoin is something that almost all of us need in our life. That's retinol, basically. So that's very good as far as producing or promoting some skin regeneration and some collagen formation, and then just kind of helping with that top layer of skin.
So you say all of us should be using retinol?
No, I mean, I think every 30-plus-year-old, particularly woman, is probably going to need a little bit of it's a very active and very popular ingredient for anything if you're looking for to improve skin elasticity, overall texture, that kind of thing. Then that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck, if you will.
And then she said also a tablet. You're killing me here, Julie.
Spironolactone.
Thank you. That's what she said. 50 milligram tablets.
Okay, yep. So that's it's an antidiuretic, but that's also, if you have hormonal acne, then that's going to be the ingredient that you're going to probably need.
So that's probably why that's being, okay, got it. Good morning. What are your thoughts? Now, I told her this one at the break, and I was like, this particular person said, I clean the dirt off my face with rubbing alcohol and wash with very warm water. That sounds very abrasive.
That's an aggressive treatment. Isopropyl alcohol is. So I love that you're cleaning your skin, which is the most important. Yes. That is like the number one thing. Do not go to bed with no matter how tired you are, do not go to bed with makeup on. All it does is just soak in there and just clog up everything, and all the hard work that you're doing, is just down the drain. But isopropyl alcohol, that's probably pretty abrasive as far as if you're using it daily, it is going to dry it out.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know what, Michelle, if you're still on, tell us, did someone tell you to do that, or are you doing that on your own? But my first thought was it was just going to really, really dry out your skin. But then what are you doing? Because do you have dry skin? And then what are you putting on, just fighting against that?
Right. And just to be totally transparent, whenever we clean anyone's skin at the clinic, we use isopropyl alcohol sheets just to get everything off, but that's a one-time thing, and then we always moisturize after any either moisturize or use Aquaphor to lock in the moisture after any procedure that we do. So if it's an every once in a while, then that's like a little mini chemical peel, no peel chemical peel, but I would not advise doing that every single night.
Okay. Jill, Beckett's mother, said, I recently joked that my daughter can use Maybelline mascara just like me because I'm not buying $21 clean mascara. Some people I know on Facebook lost their minds. Is cheap mascara really that dangerous? It's not even absorbed by the skin.
Correct. No, it's really on, I can't speak for every single one and just say across the board, cheap is bad and expensive is good. Really, I would look at just the overall ingredients in any kind of makeup product, skincare product that you're doing. And I mean, I can't speak to every single one of them. I know the basics, and I know what goes into what we promote for skincare and the different things. As far as makeup goes, that's not really my area of expertise. I can only say that what you spend on it does not necessarily equal how well it's going to work. So,
we should have a segment with you and Sherry.
Yeah,
my
the makeup artist. Yes. She is fantastic.
We should do that. I think that would be very interesting. Okay, let's talk about ingredients first before we get into light therapy, laser therapies. So we've got some slides up, and I just want everybody to understand the multiple level of things that are in some of the skincare that you use. I think that the thing I think about with regards to nutrition, and I think about from a personal trainer standpoint, is when we're looking at food, right? And if there is a laundry list of ingredients, it's like, seriously, why does all that need to be in my food? Is it the same kind of thing with skincare, or if we have more, is it a good thing?
It really is. It really does determine how well things are going to basically lie on your skin, penetrate your skin, as well as just affect your skin overall. A lot of patients think that they have very, very sensitive skin, and it may just be like kind of a micro allergic or sensitivity reaction to some of the ingredients that are in their skincare.
So we just pulled some slides, again, just randomly, the bad ingredients. And I'm looking down, does that say coal and tar dyes?
It probably so, but there are certain conditions that we do use, like coal tar and things like that,
and that's
psoriasis
okay?
and things.
Oh, okay.
Right, but those are going to be very specific things. It's very difficult to say just across the board. Just it's a one formula fits all. So
formaldehyde.
That would not be something that I would look for as an ingredient. It's really scary, actually. Some of the things that are allowed in the United States that are not allowed in other countries, just because they've been known to cause cancer, they've been known to cause birth defects and things like that. I mean, we have an FDA that's there to protect us, and generally they're used in a low enough concentration. But if you ever want to scare yourself, I would suggest you read the ingredients on anything you're eating, anything you're drinking, anything you're rubbing on your skin. It's very scary.
It's not just scary, it's frustrating, because again, I know a lot of you are making a conscious effort to want to change your life, get healthier inside and out, and you have no idea what's being allowed. I have a big problem with the FDA. That is an entire series of what is allowed into our food, what's allowed into our skincare, etc. Well, let's look at some more slides. I know Zach did a wonderful job pulling a bunch of stuff for us. So we were just looking at bad ingredients, 8 skincare ingredients for great skin. So vitamin C, I mentioned hyaluronic acid before. You want to run through some of these, and what do you think are the most important?
Sure. So vitamin C, as we get older, our faces just love serum. So I love vitamin C serum. Now I will warn you, I joke with patients, has a meaty smell. It smells like hot dog water when you put it on. Don't breathe through your nose for a little bit.
Boiled hot dog.
But it doesn't. It smells like you've rubbed your face with boiled hot dog water. But I love vitamin C. It's great as far as providing nourishment and skin regeneration or cell regeneration for your skin. It's very much a corrective thing. So there's some things that are prevent. There's some things that are correct, and it's definitely it's a very mild acid. So generally, you're not going to have a lot of sensitivities to it. But it just kind of gives you that afterglow that you're looking for.
We're all looking for the glow. Okay, so I mentioned hyaluronic acid before. What's the third one?
So mandelic acid, salicylic acid, glycolic acid, those are all, so those 3 that are listed there are actually, well, mandelic acid and glycolic acid are all AHAs. So glycolic acid is probably the most abrasive AHA. So it has a very, very small molecule. It penetrates very well. That is very much going to take care of, kind of like do, again, another mini chemical peel. It's going to take care of that outside layer of skin. And then lactic acid, mandelic acid, those are all AHAs as well. I don't see I do see lactic acid on there. Sorry, my eyes are not what they used to be. Come on, Zach, you have to make the font a little bit bigger. So those are all AHAs. Those are great for exfoliating, helping with some of that turnover of skin. Mandelic acid, kojic acid, those are going to be great for if you have skin pigmentation issues. So all of the ingredients that are listed there are very, depending on what your condition is, are great ingredients and are going to be things that you're looking for. But again, you need to be careful combining those things. If you have something that has every single one of those, it doesn't mean it's great. They might be neutralizing each other. So you really need to make sure that what you're doing is not just spreading basically cream on your face at that point.
Well, this is another reason, and I think this is going to apply to every aspect of anything that you're trying to change. You're not the authority on it. Turn it over to an authority. Authority from skincare, from a medical standpoint, authority from life coaching, personal training. When you walk into a gym and you feel lost, why hurt yourself? Right? Maybe you're not with a trainer, weeks and months and years on end, but at least have them write up a great program for you so you don't hurt yourself. Same thing. Why spend an exorbitant amount of money and it's all canceling itself out?
Exactly.
We talked about it before with people buying, I've got 50 grams of protein in my protein powder. Well, okay, but the body's not absorbing it, so you're letting it go out. You're just wasting money.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to help you save money today and listen to the importance of this. What are some of the craziest things that you've seen in ingredients that you are just shocked from being in the industry that is allowed in by the FDA?
Well, just a lot of the preservatives, formaldehyde being one, you have to look at a lot of these things. A lot of the things that are really dangerous are the things that are used as preservatives. If you have vitamin C, it has to be protected from light. But there are some preservatives that can be added to it that have basically completely neutralized it and has made it ineffective. But now it could be in a clear glass bottle. So again, it really boils down to looking at those ingredients and making sure. You'll end up scaring yourself though at the end of it, because it's very alarming what they put in there. But they have it at such a minute concentration that it is allowed by the FDA. Who is there to protect us? So I am not completely anti-FDA, but what is scary is that, the ingredients that they'll allow into these skincare products are, they're going to be a low enough concentration they can be sold over the counter and everything else. So you're not going to hurt yourself, but you're not going to help your skin at all. It's just they've neutralized each other, they've canceled each other out, and at that point, all you're doing is you're just rubbing really expensive cream that is probably at the end of the day clogging your pores and end up causing you more problems than at the beginning. If I could say anything, it would be wash your face every night, exfoliate, moisturize with some kind of sunscreen. If you do those three things, somebody's honking.
They agreed with you.
If you do the honk if you agree. If you do those three things though, then your skin is going to be in much better shape than the way you started.
Okay, but let's talk about this. So I think one of the most important things is, what should we be washing our face with? Because if you're using just a regular bar soap, isn't that drying out our face?
It's probably going to dry out your face.
Okay, so let's give a good regimen. So I think no one asked that question yet, but if I was watching this show, I would say, okay, so Dr. Sara, what should we be doing? If we don't have a ridiculous amount of money to be spending on all these products, what are the most important things that we're spending our money in?
Like I just mentioned, something decent, if you will, to wash your face with. And I tell people, if you're confused and you don't know and you're at the store and you're like, I need to pick something with the least amount of ingredients. Okay. I'm not getting paid. I'm not a paid spokesperson or anything. So, and I hate to advocate for, if I say CeraVe has a great facial cleanser and then somebody washes their, they do. It's very pure. It's very clean. They're vegan. It's a really good line. Use something to wash your face every night. I love the Neutrogena skincare pads. We have an exfoliating pad that we suggest patients use 2 or 3 times a week that has some glycolic acid, a much lower concentration than some of these other things. But just to exfoliate, clean out those pores. If the pores are clogged up with serum and sebum that your own body produces, but also makeup and things like that that you haven't washed off your face, then none of these products that you're putting on your face are even penetrating anyway. You're just basically just layering things on top of the makeup and the dirt and the oil production, and you're wasting your money, and probably at the end of the day causing a lot more problems because you're just clogging everything up. So wash your face well, exfoliate several times a week, and then you have to moisturize your skin. If you use acid after acid after acid, you're just drying everything out. A lot of times, especially patients that I have come in, we've started kind of a new acne protocol that we're trying to target younger patients with as well, but they have bought into so many of these different things. They're actually over drying their skin out, and that is what is causing the acne and these early fine lines and things like that. Your skin needs some oil. It's just, again, it's all about moderation, right? Sure. So enough oil that you're keeping things kind of relaxed and moisturized, because our oil is basically our body's moisturizer, but not so oily or so clogged up that you're causing problems down the line.
Right. So again, I think that's the biggest thing you all need to understand, and to start telling your kids at an early age, hey, because for them, I mean, I just think of all the parents out there, wash your face, get back in there and wash your face, right?
Yes.
We've heard it since we were young. Wash your face, and then make sure you're doing a good moisturizer, looking into that. But you don't have to spend a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I want to know, though, do those makeup remover wipes work good enough? Because there's all these different levels of those packets that are out there. You mentioned Neutrogena, which I keep going back to. That's got to be my favorite. I don't care which one I've used. All the other ones seem to be dry. They don't really do it. But I like those. Are those okay?
As far as I know, I mean, I've been using them for 30 years now. So as far as I know, they're good. I've looked at the ingredients. It doesn't contain anything that I'm like, oh, throw that away. So it's a nice clean wipe. The makeup removers do often work, but if you look at the ingredient, they usually contain salicylic acid, which is going to, I mean, soap and water works as well, but you need something that's going to be able to get in there and really get some of those deeper things out.
Well, and I'm just not a big fan of soap because it gets in your eyes and it burns your eyes.
It does burn your eyes.
Should we be using something different, by the way, to be taking off our eye makeup?
There generally, yes. I would definitely, if you have to look at, kind of that preventative defense kind of thing, then you don't want to use these things that are over drying of the eyes. Neutrogena wipes for your eyes, I would not recommend. One, they contain some chemicals that you do not want to get in your eyes. I use Almay. They have a good oil-free eye makeup remover that is very gentle if you do happen to get it in your eyes, or if you have it on your hands when you put your contacts in. Probably not the best thing for your eyes, but not the end of the world. You're not hating life for the next 10 minutes or so until you blink it out. But there does need to be something that you use differently for your eyes, just because of the sensitivity of that very thin skin that's around there.
And not pulling. That's one of the things, if you saw the show that I did with Sherry with regards to doing makeup, is that she told us not to keep pulling away from our eyes, but also is like everything is going upwards,
Yes,
where I think a lot of people pull downwards.
They absolutely do.
Again, it's just simple little things that I want you to understand. Okay, before we get into laser and light therapy, let's look some more of your questions. Terry says, I've been having trouble with my shoulder since a car accident, been treated from a chiropractor. He was able to try a laser light therapy on the shoulder, and it seems to have helped. Thought on medical for laser light. I've done 4 treatments and have seen good results. This may be a topic. Yes, I didn't know that. They do lasers for...
Well, red light therapy is, I think, what she's talking about. So there are definitely some...
For inflammation?
For inflammation, for scarring, for all of those, just kind of tissue regeneration, that's really gaining in popularity.
Interesting. Yeah, Dr. Willie will be back with us actually next Monday. If you want to bring that back up to him, Terry, we definitely can ask him about that. What is good for exfoliation?
I recommend, we have glow pads, but there are different, there's definitely, different ones that are out there, but you need something that has a little bit of, either depending on your skin sensitivity, again, something that has like some mandelic acid, some lactic acid, something that's going to really get in there and penetrate and get those pores cleaned out.
I'm looking at your question, so if you have any, it is Ask the Doctor after all. Ask the Doctor Medical Monday. Please, if there's anything that you are struggling with and you're like, this isn't working, or for your kids, because I just feel so bad for them. I mean, you think you get into the hormonal ages, the beginning of it, and their faces are breaking out, their backs are breaking out, and they get bullied, it's
Absolutely.
so frustrating.
Absolutely.
So for young kids, anything in particular for them that we should be, or is it just the exact same?
Just wash your face. There's so many. Our skin we carry around streptococcus, we carry around staphylococcus. Generally, just keeping clean, washing our bodies, that keeps those things in check. But you hear about these, the rustlers and things like that all roll around on the mat, and
bacteria.
Bacteria is there. It's there. It has to be kept in check. But if you have these big open sores on your face because of either poor diet or inflammation or hormonal component or just not keeping clean, then that bacteria works its way in there. That's why a lot of the Flagyl, doxycycline, clindamycin are all often prescribed for patients, particularly young patients, just because they generally are a little more active than we are. They get hot, they get sweaty, they're they are rolling around on a mat or what have you, and that bacteria ends up making its way into, you have to think of a pimple as basically an easy portal for penetration, because that skin disruption has already occurred. So you really have to just do your due diligence with staying clean and washing up afterward.
If they do have children or themselves, as you mentioned, as you get to a certain age and all of a sudden you have hormonal acne, do you have different treatments and things that you do that people come in for that?
We do. We do things that try to avoid, and I'll be the first to admit, when I was 14 years old, I went on birth control pills, not for the intended purpose, but just because nothing else seemed to be working, and and there was a hormonal component there. I tried to keep my skin clean, not as much as as I practice, that now. I didn't realize the importance, and when you're younger, you're like, oh, I'll just worry about that when I get older. But then you get older, and you're like, oh, I wish I
should have done it. Exactly.
Should have done it a long time ago. But we try to just provide different options for those patients who don't want to go on to birth control, who don't want to take some of those really harsh medications that are out there that are kind of terrible on the liver and some of the other things. So there are other options that are out there, but we really need to get to the root cause of what is causing that.
That's what functional medicine is, by the way. Natural. We're getting to the root of it and trying to be proactive. Let's see. My dermatologist recommends Dove bar soap and CeraVe light facial moisturizer, which Sara said before. Absolutely. Besides your face, Joe says, what is a good hand soap to keep hands from drying out? A dermatologist recommended I use Cetaphil for skin cleansing, but I don't know if it's good at killing bacteria.
Cetaphil is good. CeraVe has a good hand wash. A good hand wash. Some of the other products are kind of escaping me right now. But really, you need to look. Again, go to the ingredients. Don't go to the I love Bath and Body Works and things like that. But just because it smells great doesn't mean it's actually taking care of what it needs to. So again, kind of go to what you're trying to take care of. If it's something that contains things that kill bacteria, kill viruses, they may not smell the greatest, but those are probably going to be the most effective for you.
No, they smell like hot dogs, evidently. It's so funny that you said that because I now know what that is. I have something at home and I'm like, God, it smells like.
It has a very meaty smell. Yes.
That's it. Evidently, it's got vitamin C.
It probably does. Ascorbic acid, again. So if you look at that ingredient, that's the fancy name for vitamin C.
Please don't start putting hot dogs on your face.
No.
Does retinol dry your skin out? Tracy's asking.
It absolutely does. It does. So you need to follow that up with a moisturizer.
Okay. I might have missed it, but what do you use to take off your makeup? Me? I just said I use those wipes. I actually like those, but then I put a good moisturizer on. I put a good eye cream on. Eye makeup remover Neutrogena works the best, Terry said. I've tried the Walgreens brand and find I am really scrubbing to get the makeup off. I agree with that. So there are some things that are just off-label that I think are wonderful. That's not one of them.
No, I agree.
Neutrogena, come on as a sponsor.
Yeah, right.
Rose says, Dr. Franco, I love my tallow soap bars. Tallow. I try at least the least amount of ingredients. I have sunspots. I can't hide them. Can you zap the sunspots?
We can zap the sunspots.
Let's get into laser and light therapy. Actually, let's take a quick break. We're going to get into that. Thank you, Rose. You just handed it off to her. We're going to knock it out of the park. We'll do that when we return. Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at InnoVare Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willie offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, x-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. InnoVare Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovarehealth.com. And welcome back, 7:52. You just saw Dr. Willie. Remember, he told you he was going to be in the Carolinas, so he'll be back with us on March 4th, and we will do the Ask the Doctor segment. So again, Terry, you might want to bring back up the therapy that you mentioned is working for your shoulder. So before we get into the laser and light therapy portion, there are just a few other ones that have been coming in that I wanted to address. Someone said I use baking soda for exfoliation.
So I will have to take a deeper dive into that, but my just kind of knee-jerk reaction would be that would neutralize the skin. So I would think that would probably not be the greatest unless you're following it up with some kind of acid afterward to kind of to be counterproductive against that neutralization.
Okay. All right. Sara, what shows up on your face starts in your stomach? Can you touch on that? And also, do you ever use charcoal for clearing acne?
We actually do a charcoal facial, so that's very good as far as kind of drying things out before we laser. So we actually do have a charcoal laser that if you follow us on Instagram, we have a young girl who kind of volunteered to have that done. It's actually part of our acne protocol. The first part of the question, though.
She said, what shows up on your face starts in your stomach.
Yes, exactly. Food sensitivities is a huge thing there, and I kind of go through that with patients. There definitely can be a hormonal component, but if there is something that, we've noticed with kids when you don't have to, there are things where you just do the clean diet and go completely clean, but you can go to your family practice doctor. We do allergy testing. You need to look at the foods that you're eating. Inflammation is basically, I feel like it's the root of everything
Agreed.
that is going wrong. Everything from mental health to skin breakouts. So if you're eating something that is causing that inflammation, it could definitely manifest as far, on your skin, on your back, any of those kind of oily areas. So definitely take a look at, common culprits are going to be things like milk and gluten and things like that. But it could be something as I told you months ago, my husband did his allergy testing and black pepper. If he avoids black pepper, everything feels better. He doesn't have the breakouts. His back feels better. He doesn't have headaches, all kinds of things. So definitely if you are struggling with a lot of things and particularly skin outbreaks, then I would look at food sensitivities.
Absolutely. You have to pay attention more. If your body is reacting a certain way, why dismiss that? That's from a trainer standpoint, from a nutrition and dietitian standpoint. I never understand why people are just like, I'll just deal with it. You're bloating for a reason. You're burping for a reason. You feel miserable. Why would you do that to your body again? That doesn't really make any sense to me. So think about those things, because then they're going to start showing up in other areas of your life. She corrected herself, but I thought it was funny. She said, suggestions first, she said, for fine wines around your lips.
Oh,
and then she said, lines. Yeah, you like fine wine? That's fine. She said, never a smoker, but I still have fine lines.
So really, there's only a few things that we can do for those. There are creams and things that you can do for resurfacing, but if those are, so we have two different kinds of lines that we talk about at the clinic when patients come in for those. We have dynamic lines and we have static lines. So static lines are the lines that are always there. Those tend to be more of kind of the smoker lines, but do you drink from a straw? I saw a commercial the other day where the mom came and just knocked the straw out of the little girl's mouth, and I was like, oh, I can so deal with that. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, and I have these lines as well. So when I see my kids pick something up, I'm like, drink out of a cup. But anyway,
don't start that early.
so those static lines are going to be the lines that are there all the time. Dynamic lines are the lines that, when you make an expression or you smile and then you get the smile lines, those are the lines that are called dynamic lines. There's a multitude of skincare products that are out there. Really, it comes down to moisturizing. If you have this, kind of thick, hard, just non-flexible area, then it's gonna kind of crack, and that's what those fine lines are. So you keep those things moisturized and out of the sun and protected, and you're not gonna have those near what you do.
Underlying hydration. I don't know how many times we say hydration on this show, but it's huge. Let's see. Where do you recommend to get tested for food sensitivity? You do it.
We do it, but there's also, I tell people all the time, you have insurance for a reason. So if there are a variety, you can do the testing at an allergist where they literally inject you with little with very, very small amounts and look for the reaction there. You can have your blood drawn. You can send off saliva test. Do your due diligence on Everlywell is one of those companies that seem to do a pretty good job. But also keep in mind with food sensitivities that all they're looking for is an immune response there. So if it's a food that you do not eat very commonly, then it's not going to show a sensitivity because you haven't had a chance to build those antibodies against it. So we have several different food tests that we have a 96 food test, we have a 306 food test. But I tell patients, if you're really struggling with food food sensitivities, the 96 foods are probably going to do it for you because they test for the very common ones.
Okay.
You know, if you don't eat mussels from New England every single day, then you're not going to develop those antibodies and it's not going to show as a sensitivity. It doesn't mean that you don't already have, or that you don't have a sensitivity to it. It's just you haven't built that immune response to it yet. So.
Okay, so we mentioned we were going to get into light and laser therapies. I want you to think about the transition and what we should be doing. So people who have never been introduced to those, where would you recommend we start?
So start light. Don't start super aggressive. If you ask your provider, whomever it be, what the downtime is. If you have something that's going to have, 7, 8, 9, 10 days of downtime, that's probably a pretty aggressive laser.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you have something that you're really, really trying to tackle, then that's probably not a great first laser to go to. I absolutely love IPL. It's intense pulse light. It's great for browns and reds. So if you have the age spots, if you have freckles, and unfortunately freckles are adorable, but all they are sun damage. No matter how you want to look at it. So if you
so even though your aunt says, "Oh, you're so cute,"
oh,
with
look at that cute smattering of freckles on your nose and your shoulders, it just means you didn't have your SPF on there probably at some point in time. But IPL, it's so just, you see the results right away. So you'll do this treatment. We numb up before the treatment. It can be a little spicy. I tell patients it kind of feels like you're being flipped with a rubber band, which is okay a couple of times, but once we've done it 50 times over your face, you're like, okay, I'm done. So we do numb for that procedure. But it will we first target the browns because those are going to be easier to get to than the reds. But if you have things like rosacea, or some hyperpigmentations, then we can take care of those as well.
If someone's doing IPL, how often are they doing that?
I tell people to try to do it every season. That's, okay. I mean, basically you'll take care of the sun damage that you've caused, from the season prior. But if you stay on top of it, then we can be a little less aggressive and it's a little less painful as far as that goes.
And that is something that does have downtime, or no? Are you coming out of that and like going to work the next day?
You can absolutely go to work the next day. So you don't generally get any kind of, we call it molting, but you don't get any kind of like peeling or anything like that because you're just molting that top layer of skin off. Unlike a laser, unlike an erbium or a CO2 laser, those have a little bit more downtime. Now, when I say downtime, you're not bedridden and you can't go anywhere, but you look a little rough. You may have to have, Aquaphor smeared all over your face and things like that. So IPL is definitely something that you could return to work the next day, as long as you keep in mind the fact that things look a little worse before they get better. So you may end up with a whole bunch of freckles, because what ends up happening with this intense pulse light is these freckles come to the surface of the skin, and then either your body just absorbs them or they literally come out of your skin. But the clarity and just the overall texture of your skin afterward is just remarkable.
What are you most impressed with that's come out maybe in the last year or the last 5 years that people are doing for laser therapies or light therapies that didn't exist maybe a few years ago?
I think, we're using the same lasers that we have used in the past. They've really kind of perfected some of the things. We weren't able to use them on Fitzpatrick 5 and 6s, so those with very, very dark color skin, which, that kind of left them with very little options. We could do chemical peels and we could do things like that, but now they have lasers that are safe. And we don't have to worry about causing hypopigmentation, where we actually lighten the skin instead of darkening it, or not darkening it, but removing that pigmentation, as well as just kind of the overall safety of these lasers. So I would say the erbium laser, I think, is one of my favorites. It can be as aggressive as a CO2 laser, which is going to have some pretty significant downtime. You actually look like you've been burned, because it's essentially taking off that very, very epidermal layer. we try not to go for
Holy moly.
as aggressive
That looks
as
like the bring it to me guy.
as that middle picture, that's pretty aggressive. But you can look like you have a really bad sunburn. But just that overall texture, if you find that your makeup isn't, when you put your makeup on, it looks caked on, it looks like it's not laying evenly and things like that, then a good chemical peel IPL laser is really going to help you out.
Let me stress, when we look at some of these pictures, the first couple you saw obviously was Sara and Jamie, who works with her, but some of these are just stock photos that we pull. They know obviously
that
more.
was not my patient.
No, so I want to stress that. What in the world was that person possibly doing?
That looked like it might have been a combination of like microneedling and erbium laser, or not even erbium, maybe a CO2 laser, as aggressive as that was. So
I mean,
that was
if you didn't see the beginning of the show, there's a movie that the Francos are behind, and it looked like the guy with the mask.
The mask, yes.
So you just mentioned, dang it, my train of thought just went away. Oh, you just mentioned one of the things microneedling. What is microneedling used for?
So microneedling is used for, it improves skin elasticity. It really, when I tell patients what we're doing is we're basically, you aerate your yard, you go in and you poke in the little holes and then you put the seeds in. Instead, we're doing a controlled injury to the skin, and it fills in with collagen underneath. So it was very great for those really fine lines and wrinkles, overall skin texture, skin elasticity, and things like that. So if you have like kind of the crepey skin, we see it quite a bit with weight loss, and then just overall, just aging and things like that, then it's really, really great for that texture.
I love before and after pictures. They look
They're
incredible.
very rewarding.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, go back to the food testing for a second. So do you take insurance for food testing? No.
We do not, and definitely check with your insurance, because a lot of insurances will not pay for food sensitivity testing.
So there you go. So if you're wanting it done and they don't, then you can come to Sara and they can do some testing for you. She says, my daughter's starting red light therapy at the gym. Is this okay?
It is. I mean, if it's at the gym, if that isn't, if they do not.
Did you see both of us raise our eyebrow?
sorry, gym owners out there.
Well,
if there's not a medical director there, then it is. It's not going to be a medical grade light. I don't really know of the efficacy of how beneficial that's going to be.
This is my problem with gyms. They just try to jump on a trend and go, oh, let's include this. Let's just jack up the price that you're going to pay at the gym. Here, you're going to get this also for free. No, you're not getting it for free. They're just charging you more. And I don't know about the safety of some of these things, because that's not what their wheelhouse is.
Well, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And if they do have a red light therapy that is medical grade, then they probably have not been trained on it. They've just been sold a device. So, I just encourage anyone, anywhere you decide to go, make sure that they have the proper training to do those things.
You all are very talkative today. I love this. It's like, I wish I had this audience here. I'd be like, yes, pass the mic.
Yeah.
So we're going to pass the mic to Tracy. Are there any side effects from facial lasers?
There are side effects. So, there can be hypopigmentation. We generally will do kind of a skin test just to make sure if you come in and you have hyperpigmentation. Some of those, depending on the reasoning for the hyperpigmentation, meaning like a darker spot, we need to kind of get to what that is. A lot of times women will develop that after they've had a pregnancy. It's kind of a hormonal change. Generally, we can take care of that. If it's a hereditary hyperpigmentation, then we want to make sure a lot of times those are aggravated, if you will, by heat, and both the light and the laser are going to generate heat. So we want to test it on a more discrete area, probably not like right on your cheek, or maybe up in your hairline, and make sure that you're not going to have a reaction to that being it get even darker, and then we're able to treat the rest of the face. Other than that, we look at medications you've been on. You do not want to be on retinol therapy for a minimum of a week. I would love it to be 10 days, 2 weeks, before, if you're on any kind of like doxycycline or any of those other medications to try to clear up your skin, those all make you very light sensitive. So we don't want to do anything that's going to aggravate the problem.
Okay, and then she said, besides the redness for a facial laser, what about hair laser removal on the face? Any side effects with that usually?
We have not. Now, one thing you do need to keep in mind with with hair lasers, before you get talked into buying it, is that if you have very light skin, what that laser is doing is it's targeting the pigment in the skin. If you have very light, you know, like the little frog fur, that's more of a dermablading thing. You're not going to be able to take care of that with, and if somebody tells you that you are going to be able to take care of
They're
it,
lying.
They're not being completely honest with you. If it's not able to target that pigment, then you're probably not going to see a huge improvement in that area.
So darker hair would be able to
Absolutely
attack.
darker hair, yes.
So dermaplaning, by the way, is something I love. It's so rewarding just to hear scrape, 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 scrape. You're getting rid of the hairs, the tiny little hairs, but also the dead skin, right?
Yes, exactly.
How often should we dermaplane?
Most of our patients will come in monthly to have that done, but there's some, depending on kind of what your hormone levels are and things like that. I mean, it really, kind of just as needed, if you will. Be careful with those ones that you do at home. They're not going to be the same. One, you probably haven't had the same training as what we've had as far as, you know, taking a blade to the face, but it is still possible to cut yourself. So even if you don't see a cut or you don't see visible blood, doesn't mean that you don't have a cut there. So now you've introduced, anytime there's a break in the skin, that is more of an opportunity for infection and those kind of things. So
Dermaplaning, and it also will help your makeup look so much. It looks beautiful.
Yes.
If you've never had dermaplaning done before. What is your favorite facial that you offer?
I would say our hydrofacial is just, I
had that done with Jamie. She's
so
incredible.
relaxing and so rewarding. So we have a point in the hydrofacial, and I don't do them as much as I used to. It's funny, my husband just had one done. I said, they're training on hydrofacials. He was like, did you need a model? I'm like, yeah, if you want to go on back there. So he had one done last week, but he probably hasn't done the most often. But it's so relaxing. And if you do one of the higher hydrofacials, then they'll do like the lymphatic drainage and things like that. And as far as just like puffiness and sinus pressure and all those things, it helps with that immensely. And then you also get the red light, blue light therapy with that as well. So
all inclusive.
All inclusive.
I was wondering, I saw that on something the other day, and I was like, what's lymphatic draining? Is that just if we're all puffy and...
Basically, yep. So, our lymph system runs all throughout our body. It's not just the lymph nodes in your neck and under your arms and things like that. But a lot of like the swelling and puffiness is just not good drainage of our lymphatic system. So if you can just kind of go through there and just kind of force those things through and force those things out, then it will relieve a lot of the puffiness.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right, everyone. So great questions today about skincare, laser, light therapies, things like that. So if someone is wanting to just, and they might be like, oh my gosh, is it too late? It's not too late. We can start taking care of our skin at any point. If you've been using different products that you think have been drying things out, it's now starting to get on a regimen that will take care of you. So you can go into InVita Health and Wellness. Again, they're at 333 South Kirkwood Road. You can give them a call, 314-394-0950.
That's it.
There it is, InVitaHealthAndWellness.com on the screen. So if someone because a lot of people are newbies to this, what would you tell them to start with if they're like, okay, I want to be introduced to something. I want to get rid of some of these lines. I don't want to go crazy. I do have to go to work tomorrow.
Sure.
What would you say?
I would say come in for a free consultation.
Okay.
So all of our consultations are free. Just come in, make an appointment, 15, 20 minutes. We're just going to talk about like what's bothering you, what you would like to improve on, what you're using currently. Take a look at those things. And you may be using something perfectly fine. And we don't do high pressure sales there. So if you're like, I don't have a moisturizer, I am happy to recommend a moisturizer. If you have a moisturizer that's working for you, and I look at the ingredients and the different pHs and the different acids and things like that are involved and it's working, then if it's not broke, we're not going to fix it. But if there's something that we can improve on, then we're happy to help out.
Okay, we had a couple more questions come in. Tracy says, OMG, but does dermaplaning make the hair grow back thicker or darker?
It does not. No, you're not. It's not like when you shave your face or shave your legs. So no, that's kind of a myth. It's just going to take care of just that epidermal layer. So.
Oh, she just said, I know some people say that's a myth, but some don't. I'm nervous to do it and have so much peach fuzz. That's all I need is a full facial beard.
No, we will not leave you with a beard, I promise. And it's as satisfying as that. I love doing the scraping. Agreed. And then just seeing all the
you get as much satisfaction?
All the little frog fur that's there, and I just wipe it on my glove, and at the end, I didn't say, during the hydrofacial, there's a point where we call it the pond water of all of the things that were basically like sucked out of your pores, and people are just like, they're mortified. I mean, even folks that come in that have really clean, clear looking skin, it's just, there's just areas that just
stuck.
Everything just, kind of congeals there, and when we get that out of there, it's rewarding for everyone in the room. So
ask for the pond water and ask to see
Ask
your
to
little
see your
hairs.
pond water.
Yes. So Tracy, no, I've had dermal planing done a lot. I'm due. So it absolutely does not grow back like a beard like you're expecting. So I think that's a really good thing for you to bring
Absolutely.
up, though. Maybe that's why people have never tried it before. They get scared.
Yeah.
What is the cost for your best facials?
The highest price hydrofacial is $295, but that is like the full lymphatic drainage red light therapy. But we, again, if you follow us on Instagram, we have sales and things all the time, and kind of flash sales, discount packages, memberships, that kind of thing. So.
And yes, she just mentioned consultations are free.
Yes.
So somebody just asked that. Yeah, good questions. And again, I hope you got a lot of great information today. We really want to start looking at the transition of the seasons. That's something I think we haven't mentioned in a while, but I was told by a really good esthetician, if you only get 4 facials a year, great. Do it in the change of the season.
Yep, absolutely.
Otherwise, try to, what do you recommend for facials? How often?
I mean, it really depends on your skin type and the things that you're struggling with. I mean, if you're younger, if you wear a lot, I mean, I don't wear any foundation or probably.
She's just naturally beautiful.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm
yes, you
you're
are.
probably like, just put some makeup on. But it really depends on what you're putting on your skin. So if you are using a lot of foundation, highlighters, concealers, things like that, then those are just going to clog your pores more frequently. But I would say a minimum of 6 weeks in between really getting your skin clean. And then there's some preventative things that you can do. I mentioned those glow pads. Those are basically kind of a mini chemical peel. They have a pretty high concentration of acid, so and the right combination of acid. So those are going to do a really great job of exfoliating and things like that. If you do those kind of things, then you don't have to do the facial as often. So it really kind of depends on, I hear all the time, I don't have time to wake up and do put 4 creams on in the morning and then wash my face at night and then put 5 more creams on. And we really try to limit those things. And if you are doing a regimen that has 5, 6, 7 steps, then there's a really good chance that you're doing step 5 and then step 6 is basically neutralizing step 5 and then step 7. We can probably very much minimize that for you and
save you money
and save you some money. If you're thinking about light or laser therapy, now is kind of a great time to do it because we're going to be able to get through the entire process before the summertime hits. Mm-hmm. I really do try to discourage patients from having IPL, laser hair removal, face lasers during the summertime because you do need to try to avoid the sunlight, even more so than we encourage them to do anyway. And it's really hard to do that, in St. Louis weather when it's bright and sunny out and 90 degrees.
So start on that regimen now.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, if you follow them on Facebook or Instagram, then you can always see these different sales that are going on. But yeah, why don't you go in there if you have not been for a free consultation, and Sara and her staff can take care of you. Can I request a consultation with you?
Absolutely.
It's for my daughter.
You sure can.
Okay, Terry, so get a hold of them, 314-394-0950. Everybody's saying great information. I know you love us together. We know that, and we love each other. Thank you again, by the way,
thanks for having me.
Everything you do. And I mentioned at the beginning of the show, thank you for the invite to Carnival. That was the first time we had ever been. John, thank you for what you do.
Yes.
And we're going to be going to the St. Louis City SC game and going to a wine dinner at Olive and Oak soon.
Oh, fun. Good time.
My husband's like, what are you doing? And I said, stop. Don't pay attention to me. I'm getting this.
Yes.
I always go down to the wire in the last few seconds. Someone always beats me. Not this time. I don't know who I was bidding against, but you were never going to get it.
Yeah, I know. It was funny when we used to do the live auction. There was an opportunity to throw out the first pitch at the game, and my husband finally just turned around to the table behind us. He was like, "Please just stop. She's not. It doesn't matter what this goes for. She's not going to stop." But anybody who hasn't been to an auction, you kind of get that fever in you, and you're like, "No, I'm going to win this."
Exactly.
So it gets kind of personal.
Well,
so.
I lost out. I actually did an auction about a month or so ago for St. Raphael. And I swore that I had the St. Louis City SC tickets before I had to take the stage to do the live auction. And I was like, got it. And then I happened to refresh the page and I went, how did I lose it? Literally to the second. But it's the same thing when the old school. I shouldn't say nobody.
Like ticket sales.
Some people might still do the old school silent auctions where you're down to the wire.
I love those.
I wish they would go back to them. I prefer that, and I love everybody just like huddling around, and then you're like knocking somebody out of the way to get the pen. Yeah, now it's all digital, but I understand why you've all done that. But yes, we miss those. But if you have not been, you've got to do it. You've got to experience it. It's so much fun. And I say it to my husband all the time. He's like, how much are you spending? And I said, you probably would do this at some point. Why not give it to the organization? Why
Right.
not give it to all these kids?
Right.
You know, I said, you bought me tickets to surprise me to go to the St. Louis City SC game last year instead of giving it directly to the Ticketmaster or whoever's selling the tickets. You're going to do it. Get it for the kids or whatever your organization is. Invite me to an auction. I love auctions. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to wrap things up with our devotional. What are you feeling today?
Oh, color-wise?
Yes.
Let's
Not
do
this
the
one.
teal.
This one?
Yes.
Oh,
it's a
we
really
haven't
pretty
done this
color.
one in a while. And as we go into talking about spring and summer, and you think of swimsuit season and shorts, we're talking about overeating. 100 days to freedom from overeating. That's how we'll wrap up the show when we return. InVita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. InVita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, InVita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let InVita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online InVitaHealthandWellness.com. Welcome back in the wrap-up of the Real Monica Adams Show. We haven't done this one in a while. We're only on number 14 of this one. Some of the other ones I think we're on like 30 days in. But it's 100 Days to Freedom books from Stephen Arterburn. And this one is called Humility of Heart. Godly sorrow brings repentance. This is 2 Corinthians 7, verse 10. When we are driven by guilt, we tend to be harsh judges of ourselves. Yep, beating ourselves up in the process of trying to change. We can end up depressed, angry, and what this book's about, overweight. For those of us who carry a weight of guilt, it's so freeing to adopt godly sorrow as a substitute. So when we come before God with a heart that is humble and even saddened by the ways we have been too self-reliant, He meets us in our brokenness. When we give Him control of our lives, He will begin to do a powerful work within us. And we get the amazing opportunity to participate with Him and then work alongside Him. Our repentant heart is a daily practice of surrendering our control to Him. Thankfully, one of the beautiful parts of God's character is that He gives grace. You got to give yourself grace. Regardless of what we have experienced or we've done, He loves us so very much and wants to extend to us His love. And we begin to allow Him loving us, forgiving us, grace to fill our hearts. We will find that our cravings for food and our desires to overindulge in food actually decrease. True transformation can then begin. St. Augustine said, "In my deepest wound, I saw your glory, and it dazzled me." C.S. Lewis, who I absolutely love, we all want progress. If you are on the wrong road, progress means doing an about turn and walking back to the right road. And in that case, the man who turns back soonest is the most progressive man. Though we are incomplete, God loves us completely. And though we are imperfect, He loves us perfectly. Though we may feel lost and without compass, God's love encompasses us completely. He loves every one of us, even those who are flawed, rejected, awkward, sorrowful, or broken. So today's prayer: Dear Lord, thank you for loving me. I pray for the strength to surrender daily to you. I love you, and I trust you with my life. Amen. If you're struggling right now and you're frustrated with your weight, first of all, give yourself some grace. I ask you to stand in front of that mirror and find some love for yourself. Self-love is where it all begins. You know, there's so much hatred in the world, but it also starts with you. Hating yourself, tearing yourself apart. Love yourself first and watch what happens around you. All the people who start loving you a little bit more because they can feel a change or a shift within you. Thank you to Dr. Sara Franco for coming in again for our Medical Monday Ask the Doctor segment. Tomorrow, oh, Sara, you're going to like this. Tomorrow, Rip Kostaris is coming in. He is an incredible artist, painter. He has done the ceilings of the churches all over. He's done Olympic athletes. He's actually been invited to the Olympics 4 times. And you think about an Olympic athlete going to the Olympics once. They say it's the same thing for a painter to be asked, not once, but 4 times. He's done musicians here in St. Louis, and he does all these beautiful portraits. Well, he's been doing a portrait of me. for a while now that he's going to reveal at the end of tomorrow's show.
Fun.
Cannot wait to see this. He came in and we did a little consultation together, and he was looking at different things and drawing in front of me. So I don't know what the end result will be. You do not want to miss tomorrow's end of the show, but I really hope you get a chance to watch the entire thing just to see the beautiful work that this man has done. And I want to thank Dot Fleshman, by the way, for introducing me to him. He is a wonderful soul. So that's on tap for you for tomorrow. Thank you to Sara. Thank you to you and each and every one. Remember to share and like and follow our live stream Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Facebook and YouTube. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when I'm running the show, we're also on Instagram and Twitter. And we're just growing and growing. This Thursday, our audio platform, we will drop the show that I did on the Credentialed podcast with Jillian Mealy, who used to be on Fox, as well as Justine Ward, great sports reporter. Loved that interview. And if you missed it, you'll get a chance to listen to it on Thursday. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. And I say it all the time, remember, go out, honestly, believe in yourself, know that you are capable of doing anything. But before you do any of that, please be kind. God bless you all.